Have you noticed that grocery stores just do not feel normal anymore? You walk in expecting a simple errand. Grab some milk, maybe bread, eggs, fruit, something for dinner. But 5 minutes later, you are standing under blinding white lights, staring at a wall of snacks in 10 different healthy versions, wondering why a basic trip to the store suddenly feels stressful, confusing, and weirdly exhausting. It is not just you. Because grocery stores really have changed. Not in one dramatic way, not with some giant sign announcing everything is different now, but slowly, quietly, a little at a time. And that is exactly why so many people feel unsettled without being able to explain why. The old grocery store had a rhythm to it. It was predictable. Produce near the front, meat in the back, dairy somewhere along the wall, cereal in one aisle, frozen food in another. It was not exciting, but it made sense. You knew where things were. You knew what looked fresh. You knew what was normal. Now, normal is harder to recognize. A trip to the store today feels more like walking through a carefully engineered maze. End caps scream for your attention. Prices jump around from week to week. Labels are covered in words like natural, plant-based, protein-packed, farm-inspired, keto-friendly, heart-smart, immune-supporting, and family-sized value. The packaging is brighter. The music is louder. The aisles feel more crowded but somehow less personal. And even when the shelves are full, something still feels off. Why? Because modern grocery stores are no longer designed mainly to help you shop. They are designed to shape your behavior. That may sound dramatic, but think about it. The store knows where you slow down. It knows what catches your eye. It knows what products people grab when they are tired, rushed, emotional, distracted, or hungry. Every display, every discount sign, every product placement choice is there for a reason. Even the things that look random often are not random at all. The goal is not just to sell food anymore. The goal is to keep you moving, reacting, comparing, second-guessing, and spending. And that shift has changed the entire feeling of the grocery store. What used to be a place built around routine now feels like a place built around pressure. Too many choices, too many messages, too many little decisions stacked on top of each other. By the time you reach the checkout line, you are not just buying groceries. You are mentally drained. That is why people leave the store feeling irritated without knowing exactly what caused it. That is why prices feel higher, even when you bought less than expected. That is why the store can look polished, modern, and fully stocked, yet still feel strangely broken. And here is the part most people miss. This did not happen by accident. The grocery store changed because the business of food changed. Retail changed. Consumer psychology changed. And once stores realized they could influence not just what you buy, but how you feel while buying it, normal started disappearing. So, in this video, we are going to break down what really happened to grocery stores, why they feel so unnatural now, and how the modern shopping experience was quietly redesigned to work against your instincts instead of with them. Because once you see it, you cannot unsee it. One of the biggest reasons grocery stores do not feel normal anymore is simple. They stopped being built around food and started being built around strategy. That sounds subtle, but it changes everything. Years ago, the average grocery store was mostly a place to restock the basics. People came in with a list, followed familiar patterns, and left. The store's job was to make that process smooth enough to keep customers coming back. But over time, stores realized something important. The longer they could keep you inside, the more likely you were to buy things you never planned to buy. So, the layout changed. That is why essentials are often placed far apart. Milk in the back, eggs on the opposite side, bread not quite where you expect it. Produce up front to create the feeling of freshness, abundance, and health. Flowers by the entrance to trigger a positive emotional response. Rotisserie chicken near the rear, so the smell pulls you deeper into the store. Nothing is there just because. The store is guiding your movement with incredible precision, and the longer you move through that space, the more opportunities the store has to influence you. This is where grocery shopping becomes psychological. End caps are not random. Those displays at the end of aisles are premium selling space. Brands often pay extra to be placed there because stores know shoppers are more likely to notice products when they appear in those high-visibility spots. Those giant sale signs? They are not always about saving you money. Many are designed to create urgency before you even have time to compare the real value. A bright yellow tag makes your brain think deal, even when the actual discount is small. Then there is product overload. Have you noticed how buying one simple thing now feels weirdly complicated? Yogurt is no longer yogurt. It is high protein, low sugar, probiotic, Greek, drinkable, whipped, zero fat, grass-fed, keto, kids immune blend, dessert-inspired, and limited edition. Crackers are not just crackers. They are gluten-free, seed-based, ancient grain, air-baked, protein-enhanced, organic non-GMO, family pack, snack pack, artisan, or made with real ingredients. At first, this looks like freedom. More choices, more personalization, more options for every lifestyle. But too many choices do not make people feel free. They make people feel overwhelmed. And overwhelmed shoppers do something very predictable. They stop making careful decisions. They grab what looks familiar, or what appears to be healthier, or what has a sale sticker, or what sits at eye level. In other words, they become easier to influence. That is part of why grocery stores feel mentally exhausting now. You are not just shopping. You are sorting through dozens of tiny marketing messages every few seconds. Your brain is constantly scanning for price, quality, health, convenience, and value, while the store keeps throwing more signals at you. This is also why even nice stores can feel strangely unnatural. They look clean. The shelves are organized. The lighting is bright. But the environment is packed with invisible pressure. It is carefully arranged to keep your attention fragmented and your choices less deliberate. And once stores discovered that confusion can be profitable, normal started fading even faster. Because a calm shopper follows a list, but a distracted shopper buys on instinct. And modern grocery stores have become extremely good at turning one into the other. But layout and product overload are only part of the story. Another reason grocery stores do not feel normal anymore is because prices stopped behaving in ways people can easily understand. That may be the most unsettling shift of all. For a long time, shoppers had a rough mental map of what things were supposed to cost. Maybe not exact numbers, but close enough. You knew what a gallon of milk usually cost. You knew whether chicken was a decent price. You knew when cereal was expensive and when it was actually on sale. Even if your budget was tight, the system still felt familiar. Now that feeling is gone. Today, grocery prices seem to move constantly. A product is $3.99 one week, $5.49 the next. Then suddenly, discounted to $4.79 with a bright sale tag. Family-size packages look cheaper, but sometimes cost more per ounce. Store brands used to be the safe budget choice, but now some are priced so close to name brands that the difference feels meaningless. Digital coupons offer savings, but only if you download an app, create an account, scan a code, and remember to activate the deal before checkout. So shoppers are not just paying more. They are navigating a pricing system that feels unstable, layered, and strangely hard to trust. And that changes the emotional experience of being in the store. Because once people stop feeling confident about prices, they stop feeling confident about their decisions. That is when the grocery trip starts becoming mentally heavy. You hesitate more, compare more, doubt more. You stand there longer trying to figure out whether the larger pack is really a better value, whether the sale is real, whether the club price is worth the trouble, whether the cheaper option is actually worse quality, or whether you are being manipulated and just cannot prove it. That quiet uncertainty is exhausting. It also creates something many shoppers feel but rarely say out loud: low-grade embarrassment. Not because they cannot do math, not because they are careless, but because the store now makes basic buying decisions feel weirdly complicated. If you miss the digital coupon, you feel foolish. If you buy the smaller size and later realize the larger one was a better deal, you feel foolish. If you pay full price for something that goes on sale 2 days later, you feel foolish. The system keeps shifting, and somehow the shopper is the one left feeling like they made the mistake. That is a huge part of why grocery stores feel less normal now. The experience is no longer built around clarity. It is built around conditional pricing, visual tricks, membership logic, and constantly changing reference points. And here is what makes it worse. The store does not need you to fully understand the system. It just needs you to keep moving through it. That is why so many people end up spending more than they planned while walking out with fewer actual meals. The receipt feels too high. The bags feel too light. And the whole thing leaves behind this strange emotional aftertaste. Like something about the trip was unfair, even if you cannot point to one single moment. Because the unfairness is spread everywhere. It is in the signs, the apps, the package sizes, the limited time offers, the loyalty pricing, the shrinking portions hiding behind familiar boxes, the illusion of savings wrapped around rising costs. And when every shelf feels like a small negotiation, grocery shopping it starts feeling like survival with branding. And then there is the part people feel immediately, even if they never say it out loud. Grocery stores do not just look different now. They feel emotionally different. They feel colder. That matters more than most people realize. A normal grocery store used to feel like part of everyday life. Maybe not exciting, but familiar. You saw the same workers, the same butcher, the same cashier, the same woman stocking soup cans in aisle 6. There was a rhythm to it, a quiet sense that this place was built for regular people doing regular things. Now a lot of that has disappeared. Self-checkout replaced conversation. Locked cases replaced trust. Security cameras became more visible. Fewer employees are on the floor, and the ones who are there often look rushed, overworked, or stretched too thin to help. In many stores, whole sections feel half-managed, like the space is technically operating but barely holding together. That creates a strange atmosphere. The store may still be open, the shelves may still be stocked, but the experience feels less grounded, less stable, less personal. You are not moving through a community space anymore. You are moving through a system, and systems do not feel warm. This is one reason grocery stores now leave so many people with a vague sense of tension. Nothing dramatic has to happen. No argument, no crisis, no empty cart. Just the feeling that everything around you has become more transactional, more monitored, more optimized, more impersonal. Even the people around you seem different. Have you noticed how grocery shoppers now often look tired, distracted, or on edge? People are checking prices with their phones, scanning shelves, recalculating totals in their heads, putting items back, switching brands at the last second, trying to stay inside a budget that no longer stretches the way it used to. Everyone looks like they are doing math and pretending they are not. That energy spreads. And once the store fills with quiet stress, it changes the whole mood of the place. Suddenly, the grocery store is not just where people buy food. It becomes a place where financial pressure shows up in public. You can see it in the hesitation. Someone picks up berries, looks at the price, and puts them back. A parent studies the cereal shelf longer than they should have to. A shopper stares at the meat section, then walks away with something cheaper they did not really want. At self-checkout, people watch the total climb with that same frozen expression, hoping it stops somewhere reasonable. These moments seem small, but together they reshape the emotional meaning of the store. That is why it does not feel normal anymore. Because the grocery store used to represent routine, comfort, and basic provision. Now, for many people, it represents uncertainty, trade-offs, quiet disappointment, the feeling of constantly adjusting downward. And stores try to cover that feeling with polished floors, trendy packaging, upscale signage, and words like fresh, local, curated, and premium. But presentation cannot hide the deeper shift. People know when a place feels wrong. Even if they cannot explain it perfectly, they can feel when a basic part of life has become more complicated, more expensive, and less humane than it used to be. That is what makes the modern grocery store so unsettling. It still looks like a grocery store, but it no longer feels like one. So when people ask, why don't grocery stores look normal anymore? The real answer is bigger than shelf design, price tags, or self-checkout machines. They do not look normal anymore because they are no longer built to feel normal. They are built to manage behavior, maximize spending, absorb instability, and keep the entire system moving, even when the shopper feels confused, tired, or financially cornered. That is the real transformation. The grocery store used to be one of the most ordinary places in American life. It was where routine happened. A place connected to dinner, family, habit, and simple necessity. You went in, got what you needed, and left with the basic reassurance that your home was stocked for another few days. Now that experience is fractured. You walk in and face engineered layouts, overloaded choices, shifting prices, digital coupon traps, shrinking package sizes, reduced human contact, and an atmosphere filled with low-level stress. None of those changes alone seems big enough to explain the discomfort. But together, they create something powerful. a place that still performs normal on the surface while feeling deeply abnormal underneath. And that is why this topic matters. Because when a society's grocery stores stop feeling stable, something deeper is being exposed. The grocery store is not just a retail environment. It is one of the clearest mirrors of everyday life. It reveals what people can afford, how much time they have, how much mental energy they can spare, how much trust exists between businesses and customers, and how much strain ordinary families are carrying without saying it out loud. That is why people feel emotional in these spaces, even when they think they are just running errands. They are not just reacting to food prices. They are reacting to what the store now represents. A place where abundance is displayed, but affordability is uncertain. A place where convenience is advertised, but every choice requires more effort. A place where technology promises savings, but often adds friction. A place where everything is polished, but very little feels simple. A place where you are surrounded by products, yet still leave feeling like you got less than you should have. That is not nostalgia talking. That is people recognizing that a basic part of daily life has been redesigned in a way that no longer serves them the way it once did. And maybe that is the clearest way to say it. Grocery stores do not look normal anymore because modern life does not feel normal anymore. The store just makes that truth impossible to ignore. It puts the pressure right in front of your face. In the cart, on the shelf, on the receipt, in the decision to buy the cheaper version. Skip the fruit, put back the snacks, or walk past the things you used to buy without thinking twice. So the next time a grocery store feels strangely tense, confusing, or emotionally draining, remember this. The problem is not that you suddenly forgot how to shop. The environment changed. It was redesigned to guide you, pressure you, distract you, and adapt you to a new version of normal that is not really normal at all. And once you see that, the weird feeling finally makes sense. Because the grocery store was never just selling food. It was teaching you how to live inside the pressure. And maybe that is the most disturbing part of all. When grocery stores stop feeling normal, it is not really about the shelves. It is not just about the prices. It is not even just about the shopping experience. It is about what happens when one of the most basic parts of everyday American life starts feeling unfamiliar, stressful, and strangely hostile. Because grocery stores were never supposed to feel like places where people second-guess every choice, calculate every ounce, and leave feeling mentally defeated. They were supposed to be ordinary, reliable, boring even. And maybe that was the beauty of them. But once even the most ordinary places begin to feel engineered, unstable, and emotionally draining, people start to realize something bigger. It is not just the store that changed. It is the culture around it. So no, you are not crazy for feeling like grocery stores do not look normal anymore. They do not. And that strange feeling you get walking through them, that is what it feels like when everyday life is quietly redesigned right in front of you.